Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that I've accidentally been sleeping with her fiancé? Posted by a throwaway. Oh boy, that's a hell of a title, I'm aware. I don't really know how to start this, so I guess I'll just get into it. I'm a 22-year-old guy, and I'm very, very gay. I was in high school when I met this friend. We'll call her Sienna. She's 23. She was the cool older kid in the year above me. Now, after high school, I went to the out-of-state college, while Sienna went to the local uni. We kind of lost touch, other than the obligatory happy birthday and Merry Christmas texts. So, you can imagine my surprise when I got a text from my mum a few months ago, saying that a wedding invitation from Sienna had been delivered to my parents' house. Sure enough, a quick text to the lucky lady confirmed that she was getting married. Her longtime partner Marcus had finally proposed. They were having a summer wedding right in my hometown, right when me and some of our other friends would be back in town from uni. I was invited to one of the pre-wedding girls' nights because my life is basically that of the two-dimensional comic relief gay side character, I guess. And we got wasted. Like, the kind of drunk where logic isn't even in the same dimension. So, when the topic of other people in relationships came up, like the genius I was, I whipped out my phone to show them the hot guy I'd been hooking up with, as just a dumb summer fling, who turned out to be Marcus. F my life. Rightfully so, Sienna lost her mind. Fair, no criticism from me. But then she turned on me and started blaming me for ruining her wedding. For clarification, because I'm sure this will come up in the comments, no, the wedding invitation did not have any photos on it. It was one of those minimalist designs with the overtop calligraphy, that's it. Her socials only feature her. I had no way of knowing what he looked like. I don't personally think I was at fault here, but here is where I messed up. I very loudly, and to the entire club, drunkenly said, "It's not my fault that your cheating fiancé likes getting his back blown out, Sienna." I feel absolutely awful. I don't want to be the other woman, technically guy, but you get it. I certainly don't want to hurt a friend like that. I've tried apologizing 1,000 times, but she's not interested in talking to me, which I totally get. When confronted, he confessed to not only hooking up with me, but also 8 different guys over the course of their 4-year-long relationship. The wedding's been called off. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, for what you said to her. I can't imagine how devastating it'd be to find out your fiancé's been cheating on you. That nasty jab really was kicking her when she's down. That being said, I just don't get why people always seem to shoot the messenger with this stuff. Like, if the other woman, or man in this case, didn't know that the person was in a relationship, you can't blame them for the cheating. They were kind of being cheated on too. And would you rather not know and find out in 5-10 years that he's been cheating on you this entire time? It wouldn't have made a difference if OP had stopped sleeping with him. If they're gonna cheat, they're gonna cheat. They'll just find someone else to do it with. Am I the a-hole for asking my mum to leave because she won't stop wasting my food? Posted by OK Lavishness 3277. My little sister just had a baby, and our mum came to help. My sister and her husband live in a tiny apartment with no room for my mum. So I agreed to let her stay with me, since I only live 8 blocks away. It's walkable. My plan was to Uber her over in the morning and pick her up after work. I only eat 1 meal per day during the week. Supper. I have coffee for breakfast and some fruit for lunch. On Saturdays, I treat myself to a good breakfast. And Sundays, I take my girlfriend for brunch. My mother decided that this was unacceptable. She got up early and went through my fridge and freezer to make me breakfast. I told her that I appreciate it, but I don't usually eat breakfast. She said that was stupid. I very clearly communicated to her that she was welcome to eat anything in my home, but to please not make me breakfast, as it's a waste. She again made me breakfast the following day. I walked out without eating it. I figured, worst case scenario, I could eat it for supper. But she threw it out since I didn't eat it. I told her once more to please not waste my food. She made breakfast for me again the next day. I asked her if she was developing dementia. She keeps wasting my food for no good reason. I'm not poor or anything, but wasting food is a pet peeve of mine. She said I was being ungrateful for her help, and she was doing it to be nice since I was letting her stay with me. I explained to her again that I did not need, want, require, or desire breakfast during the week. She said she understood. She made breakfast for me the next day. I'd had enough. I took her luggage with me and dropped her off at my sister's home. I told my doorman that my guest was no longer welcome. I got a ton of messages from her and my sister all day long. Even my dad called to ask me to change my mind. I said no. He had to drive up and rent an Airbnb close to my sister because my mum was too scared to stay by herself. He's retired, so he didn't miss work or anything. My sister came over alone to talk to me. She said I was being a complete jerk and that I could afford the food my mum was wasting. I said I could, but I didn't want to. She literally threw out 2 months worth of my food. For example, I keep all my bacon in individual servings. She thought out 3 for every breakfast, 1 for her and 2 for me. And I ate 0. My father has asked me to let her back in. I said I would, under the condition that she understood that my food is completely off limits to her. She can pay for her own food and I'd make room for her in the fridge and freezer. She said I was being ridiculous and petty. So my dad is staying neutral, but my mum and sister think I'm being a jerk. My girlfriend thinks the whole thing is hilarious and refuses to get involved. Down in the comments, Pendragon says, "Sounds more like your mum was initiating a power play and should have continued wasting your food, which she knew bothered you, but that was a point, until you capitulated. Then she would have won. You throwing her out was inconvenient, so of course you had to be the bad guy. But that wouldn't have been necessary if your mother had been the least bit reasonable." People tend to take the easier route. Asking a reasonable person to capitulate is much easier than asking an unreasonable person to be reasonable. Yeah, if she genuinely wanted to do something nice for you, she'd have stopped after she realized it bothered you. Instead, she tried to strong-arm you into eating her idea of a proper breakfast, or she'd keep wasting your food. You should tell your mum and sister that good guests don't try and control their host's eating habits or throw out their things. That's pretty basic manners. Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbour I'm not going to be her babysitter over the summer? Posted by SurferGirl7681. I have a neighbour, we'll call her Sarah. I'm married with 2 girls, 8 and 11, and she has 2 boys, 8 and 12. The kids were friends when they were younger, but as they got older, they don't really have that much in common, and they drifted apart. When they do play, Sarah's kids fight, a lot, with each other and with my kids. Sarah's married, but her husband travels a lot for work, and she works from home. I'm a teacher, so I have school breaks and summers off. Over winter break, Sarah's kids kept coming over to see if my kids could play. Sarah sends them over when they're annoying her, and she's trying to work. So one day, the younger one came to the door to see if my kids could play, and I told him they didn't want to play right now. Sarah sent me a text saying she was on a work call and could really use some time with the boys out of the house. I caved and told my girls to just try and find something they could do together. Well, 10 minutes later, my eldest came upstairs crying, saying that one of the boys made a nasty comment about how boring our house was, and that it was dumb that I wouldn't let him play the Xbox. The Xbox is my husband's, and it's in our family room, where I was doing the laundry and watching a show. I told the boys that if they were bored, they were more than welcome to leave. Now it's almost spring break, and Sarah asked me to watch the boys for 2 days because she has 2 busy work days, and I'm off work. I told her no because we'd be on vacation in Florida, visiting family. She said okay, and jokingly said, "I guess I'll just hit you up in the summer." I said no, that I wouldn't be babysitting her kids over the summer, true emergencies being the exception. I said, "I'm sorry, but just because I'm not at school during the summer doesn't mean that I can be your free childcare. Yes, I don't physically go to work over the summer, but I take online classes for my masters and I teach online summer school, meaning I'm also working from home." She blew up at me and told me that I should help her because she's alone a lot, and now the kids are older, it's harder to keep them entertained all day. I told her that I didn't care if the kids played together outside during the summer, but I was not going to be a caretaker or responsible for her kids unless she was going to compensate me. I tried explaining that the kids don't get along the way they used to. My kids don't fight with each other the way her kids fight, and my kids don't really want them at our house all the time. Now she's pissed and not speaking to me, and her oldest told my oldest that I'm not a good person because I won't help my neighbour. Am I really the a-hole because I won't watch her kids over the summer? Is her not speaking to you really such a bad thing? How many times has she been a good neighbour to you? I bet it doesn't go both ways. OP, you work hard. Just enjoy the silence. If you like this video, please let me know and subscribe for more juicy tea.